Question number 7. Do you support a second effort for a Guam Commonwealth?
No, I don't. And this is the reason why. Because there is no such political status as Commonwealth. You have the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas that are just above us. You have the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico and the Caribbean. And both entities, both political entities, still fall under the territorial clause of the U.S. Constitution. We know that the U.S. Congress still has such authority, because just a couple of months ago, they passed legislation to try to save Puerto Rico from their debt situation. So if you're interested in moving Guam forward with a different political status, then you would be against a second bite of the apple at Commonwealth, because it doesn't change your political status at all. We need to have an effort when we are ready to educate our community on the statuses that take us out from being a U.S. territory and does something other, integration, statehood, free association, or independence. That's the conversation the community needs to have.
Resolving our political status is very, very important. We've been at it for many decades. I know in the 90s I served on the Self-Determination Commission. At this point in time, I've secured education funding thanks to Assistant Secretary Esther Caina for her assistance. And the current commission is doing a tremendous job to educate the public. It's so very important. Concerning this issue, I will not prejudge. I will not prejudge the outcome of the choice of the people of Guam, but I will support them. Whichever way they decide to support, whatever they select, I will support them. And I'm asking the public and the people to take this up very soon. We should vote on it soon. It's very important.
Commonwealth, it was a status that was pursued during the Joseph Ada administration. There was a draft Commonwealth Act based on the 1980 and 1982 plebiscite. And with that, in fact, that was chosen over statehood. It was pursued by the Governor Ada administration, and in fact was supported by both former delegates Ben Blas and Robert Underwood. It was declined and not accepted or pushed back by both the George Bush administration and Bill Clinton on 2 points. We wanted self-determination included in it, and we wanted mutual consent. And they said, absolutely not. We're not going to entertain this. And it failed. As a result, the Guam legislature went back in due time and took that out. They took out the Commonwealth option, and it's not even included. They have free association, independence, and statehood. By the way, free association is not a status. It is a treaty with the United States. Thank you.
Thank you. Commonwealth is what is currently the status for Puerto Rico and Northern Marianas, and both territories are wanting out. They realize that aside from the position that we are currently in, that is the next position that has little or no value to them. They have no real relationship in controlling what goes on in their territories. We need to be more informed, and I think that our governor has done a tremendous job bringing funds here to help inform our villagers so that we are better prepared to make that determination. But if you look at the history records, you'll see our representatives going back 70 years, saying we're not ready. My dear friends, when will we be ready? We are the stewards of this island, and we owe it to our next generations. Thank you.
Question number 8. What are your views on the military buildup?
In the second half of my term, this came to be back in 2006. there was a great initiative. They wanted this completed by 2014. We said it was too much, it was too soon, and it would be unsustainable. Years later, here we are with a record of decision of $8.7 billion to be spent over the next decade or so. 5,000 or plus Marines and their dependents. The bottom line is, I always requested that it had to be mutually beneficial to the American patriot inside the fence line and the American patriot outside the fence line, meaning the people of Guam. We had to protect our environment, we want to protect our culture, and we want to ensure that it's mutually beneficial. Life as we know it will change. The demographics of Guam will change. We must ensure that our culture, our people, our environment are protected and make sure that it benefits both the nation and the people of Guam. Thank you.
Thank you. Very quickly, jumping back to political status. First of all, we have to talk smartly about it. Commonwealth is not a status, and free association is one of the 3 statuses that are recognized by the United Nations for decolonization. On the military buildup, my view on the military buildup is that it needs to be mutually beneficial for the community. It doesn't seem to have been that way since we have gone through this process. It's been very heavy on the DoD side and on the military side, and seems to have fallen short on the community side. We need to find, the delegate needs to find the opportunities moving forward to find out what federal funding can be used to supplement and improve the community outside the gate and not just inside the gate. DoD is going to get what it wants. They have the money, they have all the big toys. And we are a U.S. territory. We need to exert our influence for the betterment of our community.
Thank you. In a recent meeting with folks at Department of Defense and the Pentagon, Department of State, it was made perfectly clear to me that they are not unreasonable. What they said to me outright was, Margaret, we can't read your minds. If you don't have a representative sitting there explaining what your concerns are, then we assume when we make decisions that you're okay with it. We're not okay. We need to take care of our people first, and we need to make sure that we have a representative at each and every gathering of these folks. Thank you.
I support the military buildup. I've been at it for 14 years. But the buildup must be a win-win situation, no matter how long it takes. We've been holding DoD accountable to Guam, and they have cooperated. They have gone back on acquiring some land for firing ranges and so forth. So they are cooperating with us. And everybody in this room knows the situation in the world today with security. Just recently, we again threatened by North Korea. So it's important that we have the military here. I also was the one that was instrumental in bringing THAAD, which is the missile defense, to Guam. I had my constituents calling me, asking me if they should move because of the threats from North Korea. I said, absolutely not. This is our home. So I think security is very important, and we should move forward in this, and this will bring job creations and IT and telecommunication jobs for our community. So I support the military buildup.
Question number 9. Do you feel the federal government makes decisions carefully regarding Guam?
Thank you. I think what happens is we do have some representation in Congress and friends there that will go along with us. And when the bills are turned over to the Senate, these folks who do not know us turn over the question to our military. They defer to them because they know they're more involved with us on a day-to-day basis. We need to understand that these people are there making agreements that they think are in their best interests. If our best interests are not put in front of them and fought for, we cannot expect them to read our minds. We have to be vocal. And those of you students, our future leaders, you need to be up on all of this, and you need to be vocal. You need to be out there putting yourself in front each and every time. This is paramount to all of us. Thank you.
Oftentimes, federal policy and decisions that are made in consideration of the 50 states, and oftentimes do not consider or are indifferent or ignorant of the impact and effect it will have on the insular territories. It is the requirement really of the delegate and the office to ensure that any issue that may have any close effect and any impact upon the territory, and in fact should be a collaborative effort between all of the 5 insular areas to ensure that these issues that may have a negative impact on us are pointed out, that are dealt with, they're amended and addressed correctly. We must be, we've got to realize that the insular territories do not have a voice in the Senate. We do not have full representation. And so oftentimes our interests are never considered whatsoever, and we deal with the consequences. We must ensure that we determine the realities we live with by ensuring that we take care of the policies that affect us.
As your delegate in Congress, contrary to what others may say, my priority has always been ensuring Guam has a seat at the table. Because of seniority and leadership, Guam is finally at a place where we can leverage the federal government to ensure our issues are addressed. And I will say that again, seniority comes into play. When you're a senior member of Congress, they listen to you. You have other advantages to any other members that are less senior than you are. So again, as a delegate, I'm ensuring you that Guam has a seat at the table when these decisions are made. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, do they make decisions carefully? When they want to, they make decisions carefully regarding Guam. And it depends whether you're talking about the executive branch of government that needs to carry something out, or you're talking about the legislative branch of government, where the delegate position is the most difficult job. You don't have a vote. You have to insert yourself somewhere along the process where you can leverage. And there are a lot of things that happen in Congress. 435 members in the House, 100 members in the Senate, and no voice in the Senate either. It kind of goes back to how can we have a stronger voice or influence with the federal government. We tie our hands at times with the laws that we've passed, and not being able to get more people on board, again, like states, districts, other territories do, really hampers our ability to move some of our issues forward and to penetrate not only the bureaucracy, but also places where we just don't have that much influence, like the U.S. Senate.
For our last question, question number 10, should the federal government reimburse Guam for earned income tax credit?
To begin with, I have to disagree with one of my opponents here. There are 441 members. You must count the territories. And I go up against anybody. There is 435 voting, but we also vote in committee, and we are considered members of the United States Congress. I recognize earned income tax credit has been a real burden on our local treasury, and it's been a challenge for many, many years. I supported legislation to provide cover over Guam. Guam should explore delinking, and I have supported Senator San Nicolas in this, and I thank him for that. Guam must make the decision, not rely on Congress. Thank you.
The earned income tax credit and that entire issue came to bear when I was in office as a result of a class action lawsuit refuting prior Attorney General decisions that said it is unenforceable and we will not pay it. By the time the courts decided that Guam has to pay, we had to fork out $90 million. And as I mentioned, it averaged 20 million in my time, and now I believe it's in excess of $60 million per annum. It is unsustainable. It is a direct subsidy to families that are at the 40% of the federal poverty level. And it's a direct subsidy paid 100% by the government of Guam, your taxpayer dollars, that could go elsewhere. And there's no reimbursement that has ever come from the federal government. It's part of the compact impact reimbursements we've been seeking. We need to see if there's a way that collectively we can be exempt from this. Otherwise, we must claim that they pay us. Thank you.
Thank you. Should the federal government reimburse Guam for EITC? This is unsustainable. And the difference between us and the U.S. is that even though our plans mirror each other, when the U.S. has to face paying out their credits, they print more money. We do not have that option. The money comes out of your pockets. I believe that they should enlist all of the territories and have them benefit from the same plans that other Americans are having to deal with on the 50 continental states. If you take into consideration the unfunded mandates that we are faced to take on, our tax rate exceeds those of our American brothers and sisters.
Absolutely, the federal government should try to reimburse us for earned income tax credit. We've lost the case where we've had to pay it. Everyone's right up here. We should pursue delinkage as well, but also run a parallel course where we're making the argument in Congress that for the funds that we expend for compact impact that aren't reimbursed to Guam, we need to find some other offset. And if it means that if Congress can't pass something that's mandatory spending and calling it compact impact aid to Guam or to U.S. jurisdictions, then maybe we need to appeal to Congress to pass something so that you're just paying the earned income tax credit in lieu or in recognition of the fact that there's no mandatory funding within the compact now or beyond 2023 to reimburse us for the services that are taken up by FAS migration. Either way, there are a bunch of other federal mandates I think that need to be fought. You need to really engage Congress and run parallel tracks, delinkage, and also relief. Thank you.
Thank you very much to all our candidates. And now we've reached the last portion of our event tonight, and chosen by random is our closing, a 1-minute closing, and we will start with Ms. Metcalfe.
Are we allowed to stand? Thank you. A quick thank you again to all of you. You are our leaders. We are looking to you for our futures. I'm reminded by a good friend of mine and priest that when it comes time for us to meet our Maker, our Lord isn't going to ask me, Margaret, how many times did you say the rosary today? Or how many times did you go to Mass? Our Lord is going to say, Margaret, how did you treat your family? How did you care for your parents? Is your community better off for you having been there? My dear friends, my answer will be yes to all the above. My panel represents over decades of people representing us in different capacities. We do not have the luxury to continue to elect failed career politicians who have let us down time and time again. It is time for us to pick up that mantle and bring our voices to Washington. We can't wait 14, 16 years and hope this time someone will get it right. You have a choice to make this Saturday, August 27th, and I hope and humbly ask that you choose me to help you with this chore. Thank you.
Mr. Babauta.
Well, thank you again, everyone, for for attending and coming out and listening to the forum. It's unfortunate that we didn't have the opportunity as different parties to debate one another. But be that as it may, this is the one opportunity several days before the primary election for not only you here, but also everyone at home, because this is going to be broadcast later, to really see what the differences are with us candidates. And I did not mean to belittle anyone by suggesting that they should drop their notes. I was only simply saying that if you're passionate about these issues and you have substance and you want to fight for the people of Guam in Washington, D.C., and you're on the campaign trail, you don't need notes. I don't need notes when I go to a party and I sit down with somebody and they ask me about education. I should have the answer right there. That's all I was saying. And for me, I'm passionate about these issues. I have substance, I have experience in Washington, D.C., and I want to serve the people of Guam as their delegate, as their main advocate. Please go out and vote August 27. Exercise your right to vote. Choose leaders that are going to represent you for the better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Bordallo.
I stand to thank the University of Guam community, the students here, to Professor McNitch for arranging this. We've had a lively discussion, and I want to thank the people of Guam for giving me 40 years of service to them. And I wish to continue. There are many challenges, and I wish to build on the progress I've made. I'm going to take the high road in this election. I'm not going out to belittle any one of my opponents. They are all friends, and I wish them well in the coming election. This is the way I've always operated in every election, taking the high road. The people of Guam want to know what we're going to do for them, how passionate we are. And believe me, in the United States Congress, I'm not known as Madeleine Bordallo. I'm noted as Ms. Guam. Here she comes. What does she want again? So I'm going to continue that. And again, I ask for your vote in this coming election. Thank you very much. Si Diyos Masi.
Si Diyos Masilay, para todo. You've trusted me as a senator, you've trusted me as a governor, and you can trust me as a delegate. We are in an era of change. Never have you seen 4 candidates running for the delegate office, have you? No. This is the first time. Change is in the air. And people, I want to make sure that I represent the character of our people, the character of our nation, which is respectful, which is collaborative, which finds solutions, which has a faith in God, that can go forth and bring all different parties together. This is a collaborative effort that we must work with, not only here on Guam, but throughout Micronesia, because we are all connected. Every single one of us is affected by what happens in the FSM, in Palau, in Chuuk, in Kosrae, in the Marshall Islands, in the state of Hawaii, in the United States of America. Let us determine our future. Let us make sure that we are part of the solution, and that we forge our policies that will affect our realities. And let's do it with the character of the people of Guam, and I want to do that for you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our event. Can we give our candidates another round of applause?